Hey, this is Toby at sheel-mann Sitz. Today we're going to do a little tutorial on putting a recline knob delete on one side of the seat and a thin recliner knob on the other side. So a little backstory is that some cars have really narrow tunnels where the seat mounts, and the normal reclining knobs on our seats might be too wide to fit down in that tunnel. So we have this option to delete one of the knobs and put a thin knob on one side. So to get started, I'm going to show you the tools that I've got laid out. You're going to need a pair of fairly wide flat screwdrivers. All right, so we're going to use our flat screwdrivers and gently go behind the plastic knob all the way to the center with both screwdrivers, and then just gently pry it right off the shaft. And then there's a little plastic washer, set that to the side. Okay, once you've got one knob off, you can just very easily slide the shaft out the other side of the seat. All right, so the next step is we're gonna install the retaining washer from our recline knob delete kit onto the end of the shaft. Okay, so for this step, we're gonna use the deep well socket, and it doesn't really matter what size this is. I have a 12 millimeter. It just needs to be larger in diameter than the shaft itself so that we can use it as a tool to push on this retaining washer. So the way I'm gonna do it, I have this, the shaft, it doesn't matter which end of the shaft we work with, we're just gonna add the washer to the end. And so I'm gonna put the concave side towards the shaft, and then kind of start it here. And then we're going to use the hammer and the socket to just tap it on so that it's just barely onto the shaft. And then just a gentle tap. And that's all we need. So we just want to have it just onto the shaft, not very far. Because once this is back in the seat, it's going to go behind this cover. So once we have the washer onto the end of the shaft, we're going to install this back in the seat so that we can measure how much we need to cut off the end of the shaft on the other side. So back to the back of the seat, we're going to put our little plastic washer back on the shaft, and then gently put it back through the recliner, and this should be done without any force. So there's a spot where all of these male teeth will line up with the internal side of the recliner. There we go. And then gently push it all the way to the other side of the seat. And once it gets there, we'll just make sure that it comes out the other side nice and gentle. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so we have the shaft inserted through the seat, and now we need to determine how much of the shaft we need to cut off so that we can decrease the overall width. The first thing I'm going to put back on is our plastic washer, and then I'm going to get the thin hand wheel that we make, and this is held in place with a set screw that is turned by the 2 millimeter Allen wrench. And so the first thing I'm going to do is make sure that the set screw is not protruding into the center of the part, and then we're going to just offer it up onto the side of the seat, just like that. Now that we've got the small, thin knob in place, we need to mark the shaft for where we need to cut it so that it's flush. A couple ways to do it. One way is to get in there really close with a Sharpie, and then we know that our cut is actually going to be on the inboard side of that mark. The other option is that if you have one, like a really thin scribing tool, you can get in a little bit closer and a little bit more precise and make a mark like that. So now we have our point. We need to take the shaft back out, and we'll bring it to the bench, cut this off, and then we can install it for the final time. All right, I'm gonna put it in the bench vise. I just got a piece of cardboard here to protect our shaft so that we don't damage it. Just doing everything as tidy as we can. And what I'm going to do is make the mark right on that, the scribe mark that I made, which coincides with the inboard side of the magic marker line. I'm just using an electric hacksaw, but you could use a normal hacksaw or a die grinder, anything that you've got that can cut through this piece of steel. The important thing is that we don't make a lot of burrs and have a rough cut. We want a nice clean cut so that we can get it back through the seat easily. So I'm just gonna get this cut. And I'm inspecting the cut. It does have a small burr, so I'm just going to use a small file and dress the end of the shaft so that the burr doesn't interact with the recliner. You get a nice smooth installation. And just take your time, make sure that you get it nice and clean. I'm going to install the shaft, so again, I want to make sure that my little plastic washer is on the shaft. We've got the retraining washer that we installed earlier, and we certainly don't have too much steel overhanging on this side. We want it to be flush inside that cover that we're going to install last. So you could double check to make sure that this is going to cover up however much steel you have hanging out of there. So again, gently finding the engagement of the male and female parts here, and we'll push it through. And then once it gets to there, we'll go to the other side, and you can actually see the shaft in there, and we'll just make sure that it comes through nice and smooth. There it is. So we're gonna push that all the way through with my hand on the other side. Kind of keep holding pressure on it. Install the plastic washer, and then we will find our grub screw hole, which is right there. Perfect. Now everything should be tight, and we can adjust with the thin hand wheel. And the last step is we'll snap on the cover on the other side. All right, the last step is really easy. We're gonna install the little visual cover to cover up the hole that we have left. And it's as easy as just snapping it into place. And that's it. It's a pretty easy job. If you have any questions about the process, feel free to give us a call. We're always here to help with any installation needs. Other than that, thank you very much.